956 confirmed. That's a number that hit the wire this morning, and the climb is steeper than what we walked you through last week. If you're just joining, the DRC Bundibugyo outbreak was under pressure long before today's count. Delayed recognition, uneven lab capacity, contact tracing gaps. MSF warned a month after declaration that surveillance, diagnosis, tracing, and community engagement still weren't keeping pace, and that treatment centers in Ituri were overwhelmed.
This is Ebola Watch. Today, the case count jumps again. CDC formally tells Americans to reconsider that trip, and we ask whether the response is catching up or falling behind. Sarah, start with that number. DRC Bundibugyo Ebola outbreak isn't over. Follow us wherever you're listening, and the next chapter comes to you.
Here's Xinhua.
The number of confirmed Ebola cases in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, has risen to 956, including 247 deaths, according to the latest situation report released Saturday by the country's health authorities. 23 new confirmed cases, including 2 deaths, were reported Friday in the provinces of Ituri and North Kivu. Ituri remains the epicenter of the outbreak, with 874 confirmed cases and 201 deaths, accounting for more than 91% of the country's confirmed cases.
The latest situation report out of Kinshasa Saturday puts it at 956 confirmed, 247 deaths. And the health minister isn't softening it. Roger Kamba said outright the outbreak's still in an upward phase.
956. We were at 782 a few days ago. So the curve is still climbing. It hasn't flattened.
And notice the discipline in this one. 956 confirmed, and then separately, 162 suspected cases flagged just on Friday. Xinhua's headline leads confirmed only, but the body keeps the columns apart. That's the number you actually want to hold.
Where's it concentrated, though? Is this everywhere or one pocket?
Ituri's the engine. 874 of the 956 cases, 201 of the deaths. That's more than 91% in one province. Mongbualu, the treatment center in that photo, is right in the middle of it. Here's Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
The Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, is experiencing an outbreak of Bundibugyo virus disease, BVD, in Ituri, Nord Kivu, North Kivu, and Sud Kivu, South Kivu provinces. See map. CDC recommends avoiding non-essential travel to these provinces.
The CDC formally moved this to Level 3, Reconsider non-essential travel, for Bundibugyo virus disease in Ituri, Nord Kivu, and Sud Kivu. It's a dated formal step up, not just a vibe.
Okay, but Level 3 from CDC and the Level 4 from state we talked about earlier, those are 2 different agencies on 2 different scales, right? Because a listener with a ticket is going to conflate those in about half a second.
Right. CDC's ladder tops out at Level 4, avoid all travel. Level 3 is the tier below. For the provinces outside the outbreak zone, they're only asking for enhanced precautions, Level 2. So it's targeted by province, not a blanket warning.
And the part that actually scares me, there's no licensed vaccine for Bundibugyo. So Reconsider isn't bureaucratic softness. There's no shot waiting for you if you go.
That's the equity piece I keep coming back to. For Zaire strain Ebola, the playbook includes a vaccine pipeline. Bundibugyo doesn't, so contact tracing and treatment centers have to do almost everything here. And we just heard the case count cross 956.
When the CDC taps emergency funding and Europe sends support teams for an Ebola outbreak, what changes on the ground? Are we talking labs, contact tracing, vaccines, treatment centers? And how do we even know if the response is keeping up?
Short answer, on paper, a lot. But outbreaks gain ground in the lag between resources arriving and systems actually working. Here's the concrete picture. As of late May, UNICEF had 598 suspected cases reported across DRC and Uganda, and that was already straining infrastructure before outside help was fully in place. The CDC issued a Health Alert Network advisory on May 19th, identifying this as a Bundibugyo strain outbreak, a rarer Ebola species, and began recruiting staff for airport screening that same week, per an internal email obtained by ABC News. In Europe, the ECDC, the EU's disease prevention agency, said on June 18th it was deploying additional field experts to boost risk assessment and contact tracing capacity. The World Bank also confirmed a rapid response financial package on June 18th, aimed at protecting frontline health workers and preserving essential health services. On the ground, that can mean faster lab confirmation of suspected cases, more contact tracers to map exposures, and, if the pipeline holds, more beds and protective gear at Ebola treatment centers. That "if" matters. A Reuters dispatch from June 17th described health workers in Bunia, the outbreak's epicenter in Ituri province, still struggling with severe shortages of staff, ambulances, and medical supplies, a full month after WHO declared an international emergency.
You mentioned Bunia specifically. If supplies are still short there a month in, what was actually getting through to the field before Reuters filed that report?
Some of it was getting through. An EU-donated cargo plane landed in Bunia on May 28th with masks, gloves, boots, and medications. AP confirmed that. And the WHO Director General went to Kinshasa around the same time, so there was high-level diplomatic attention too. Material aid has moved. But Reuters, reporting 3 weeks later, shows delivery is one thing. Having enough, day after day, is another. From here, watch the confirmed case counts, separate from suspected and probable cases, because those carry different levels of verification. If confirmed cases plateau or fall, that's the clearest field signal that contact tracing and treatment capacity are containing transmission instead of just chasing it.
If Ebola Watch helps you stay oriented, try Hantavirus Watch. Daily updates on the 2026 outbreak, including the MV Hondius Andes virus cluster, CDC and WHO response, contact tracing, and traveler risk. Find it wherever you listen to podcasts. You'll find links to every story we covered today in the show notes. If something caught your attention, they're there for a closer read. That's Ebola Watch for today. This is a Lantern podcast.